How many houses can you flip a year? The real question is how many houses can you flip a year? It's how many houses can you flip profitably in a year? Some people flip one house and quit, and other people flip over 100 houses a year. What's the difference? In this video, I'll show you what determines deal volume and why more isn't always better. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what controls the amount of houses you can flip in a year and how to scale without crashing. All right, so full disclosure, I started out doing one house my first year, 3 houses the next year, then 7 houses, then 20. When I went from 7 to 20, things started to fall apart. Now, I can tell you this, I still flip right now 100 houses a year actively, but I have a full-blown system that runs without my daily involvement. It took a long time to get there. So let's first talk about what it's like when you first get started and where you want to go and what's better for you and for your goals. Most people start out as a house flipper alongside their current job. Look, it's a great lucrative way to make an extra $50,000 or $100,000 flipping a house, but most people have a full-time job they want to keep for that security, which is totally fine. If you want to leave your job and go into the world of not having security or a secure income, you can, but you have to be prepared for it, and that's a whole different video. So I want to ask you this. I think it's important to know how many houses do you really want to flip in a year? And I think you can reverse engineer that to say, how much should I make on my average flip? If you're brand new, it wouldn't be unrealistic to think you could make $50,000 a flip as you get started. When you dial it in a little bit more, you might make a little more. It depends on your area of the country and where you are and what kind of margins you're working with and how many deals you can find. But I think we should say, let's say you can make $50,000 on a flip. Okay, that means that if you want to make $200,000 this year, you have to do what? 4 flips. So we have to figure out what number do you want to earn before we can decide how many flips we want to do. Then once you know how many flips you want to do, we have to decide what kind of systems and structure you have to have in place to make it possible. Now I think it's really important to stop here and talk about some reality checks for a minute. Again, I do 100 deals a year, but I'm not directly involved in 100 deals a year. Could you imagine? No way. I have a full team and a woman that runs all my day-to-day operations, but it took 20 years to get to that place. I have a very close friend, one of my best friends, who recently in the past 2 years left his corporate job paying him over $100,000 a year as a vice president of a credit union. He's now trying to do a tremendous amount of flips. Matter of fact, he's trying to do 7 or 8 in his second year of doing flips. He's overwhelmed and trying to figure out how to make it work because some deals he's making money, some deals he's losing money. And he calls me for advice and coaching. And I say, listen, you're trying to grow too fast. And when you try and grow too fast, you're better off doing less deals and making more money than you are trying to do more deals so you can say you did a number of deals and making less money. How do I know this? From very personal experience. There was a time when our goal on our board in our office was to do 100 houses a year, and we had a chart that showed how many deals we would do. We never really targeted profit, and that was a huge mistake. And I don't want you to make the same mistake. So we used to go after deals and sometimes lock deals down that we'd only break even on or even lose money, but it counted as a deal. It got us close to that 100 deals until somebody came to my office and said, Glenn, why aren't you focused on profit? And I said, I don't know. That's a really good point. I know that might sound to you like, why? You seem like a smart guy. Why aren't you focused on profit? Because sometimes we get caught up in the wrong goal. So don't be caught up in the wrong goal and say, how many houses can I flip? First, I want you to say, how much do I need or want to make this year, and then reverse engineer it. So now that you have the number that you want to do, let's talk about realistic timelines for how long it will take you to flip a house. So, for instance, if you are doing a traditional cosmetic flip, I would say that you could do that flip in 4 to 6 months. Now, can you run multiple flips at the same time? Yes. That doesn't double your problems. That usually will square your problems. So instead of having 2 houses and 2 sets of problems, you're probably going to now have 4 sets of problems. It's just the way that it goes. Especially if you try and use the same contractor for the same houses, that causes problems. There are certain nuances to flipping multiple houses simultaneously. So if you want to do 2 houses a year, in theory, you could do one in the first half of the year, one in the second half of the year, and make $50,000 each, you make an extra $100,000. You say, Glenn, I gotta make $250,000. I have to do 5 deals a year. Okay, I want you to think about what that really will take. To do 5 deals in a year, you're gonna have to, number one, find 5 deals a year. So you're gonna have to have some kind of a marketing engine to find those deals. You're not gonna find them on the open MLS, you're not gonna find them on Zillow. You have to have a marketing machine to find the amount of deals that you want to do. 1 or 2 deals a year, you could find yourself. You start going to 5, you're gonna have to have some kind of a system that brings leads to you on a regular basis. If you don't have that, then you're not able to cherry pick leads to do. Does that make sense? Now, once you start down that road and have enough leads, now you have to say to yourself, how am I going to renovate this many houses? And that means you're going to have some kind of a team assembled, and it can't just be one contractor. You're going to want to have multiple contractors to work. Number one, to give you multiple bids on properties, and number two, to keep multiple jobs going at the same time. If you make the mistake of having one contractor do 2 jobs simultaneously, you will almost always crash and burn. Ask me how I know that. I've been down this road over 1,200 flips. I know how these games work. So even though they tell you, I can do it, I've been doing this for years. Yeah, they say a lot of things, but they'll make your life a living hell. So I'd be very careful with that. So now that you know, okay, now you have to have contractors in place to this. You want to have your team built. You want to have a good real estate agent on your side to help you sell the houses once you finish this. You don't want to be involved in the day-to-day. You want to remove yourself as much as possible. The more deals you have to do in a year, this might hurt you a little bit, the more you're going to have to delegate. If you're a control freak, you just went, whoo! And I know how people are as being a control freak. I used to be until I let go of control and trusted other people. There's a whole process for that. We have videos on that. You can spend time on our channel as we talk about that, or even hit me up with a message. That's kind of a high-level coaching. I'm more than happy to reply to you on that. But you want to make sure that you can delegate certain things away from your business so you can get the amount of volume done. The more volume you need, the more you're going to have to delegate to get that done. If you are not comfortable delegating, you should not target 3, 4, 5, 10 deals a year. You're going to have to get good at the delegation part. Now let's touch on the types of flips, because the types of flips determine how much time is invested. We talk about 7 different kinds of flips in our world, and I'll just go through them really quickly. One is a contract flip. That's a wholesale where you never actually buy the house. Could you do more of those in a year? Yes, but you'll make less. They're usually 5 to 10. We average around $14,000 for a wholesale is what it's called, but we do about 70 of those a year. So there's a lot of them that we do in our business. Then you've got an as-is flip where you literally buy a house and sell it as is. While they're great deals, they don't show up every day of the week. And next you have a repair flip where you have to repair a house and get it ready so it's mortgageable for an end buyer. That's a repair flip. Then you have a cosmetic flip where it's just, putting in paint and kitchen counters and kitchen cabinets and new vanities in the bathroom and just make the house look beautiful. Then you have a full renovation, and a full renovation means you're doing a lot more work. You're doing a roof, you're doing maybe a septic system, a sewer system, maybe you're working on the foundation or you're putting siding on a house. There's a lot more major work that goes into a full renovation. Then you have what's called a value add renovation. A value add is when you're going to add rooms or a room to the house to increase the value of the house. That's a value add. And last but not least is my favorite, and it's a hold flip, and that's where you're gonna flip the house to yourself and hold it as a rental. Now, all 7 of those have their own individual timelines. Look, as you can imagine, a value add and a full renovation are gonna take a lot longer than a cosmetic and a lot longer than just flipping a contract. So you have to decide, what type of flip do I wanna do, and then reverse engineer that into your life, how much time you have, and how much you're willing to delegate to get that done. And let me start to close with this. Flipping 2 houses the right way is a whole lot better than flipping 10 houses the wrong way. Before you decide how many houses you want to flip, you really have to know what kind of houses to flip. Go watch my next video, the crucial step that new investors always miss, so you can learn the best type of properties to buy and how to finance them so you can actually flip the amount of houses that you want to flip in a year. The link is in the description below. Check it out now.